Hail and well met, Shirefolk. In today's video, we're going to be creating costume builds for a LARP faction made up of knights and nobility, so stick around. Alright guys, so in our last video I mentioned that we were teaming up with Reckoning LARP to do some promotional photo shoots for each of the 4 factions at that event. Last week we did the Viking-inspired faction called the Vadrkin, and this week we are going to be doing the Hadrian faction. Now I'll send it over to Abby to explain some of the details about the faction, and then we'll get into the costume builds.
So for this photo shoot, we'll be covering the Hadrian faction. The Hadrians are a faction that takes a lot of aesthetic influences from different areas of history, generally from between the 13th to the 15th centuries, focusing on European kind of aesthetics, but generally the ideology of this faction is based off of things like ancient Greece, the Roman Empire, and the Age of Chivalry. The Hadrians, as an empire, were actually inspired to go on this conquest due to a specific prophecy that they received in the lore of this world. So due to this prophecy, they believe that they need to conquer the rest of the world to unite it against this oncoming threat. So as we're introduced to the Hadrians in the lore of the March, in the world of Reckoning, we see them as these invaders who have come into the March to kind of conquer all the peoples there. Aesthetically, the ideas that the Hadrians are based on are those of noble knights and even late medieval and Renaissance kind of nobility and gentry. So we really wanted to emphasize those kind of aesthetic goals as we were doing this photo shoot. We wanted to look nice, we wanted to look polished, and even very uniform in the way that all of our different characters would be put together. We also decided to put together sort of a feast. So you'll be seeing us as we're putting together this kind of Hadrian feast where we get to exemplify the riches and the nobility and the different aspects of Hadrian culture. So while a lot of the people of the March might view the Hadrians as kind of invaders to the Hadrians, they see themselves as these chivalrous knights who are coming to save the world from this impending apocalypse. And the Hadrians also happen to look really cool. The people who come as Hadrian characters oftentimes get to be a lot more dripped out than a lot of the other factions because they are coming from nobility. A lot of them are knights, and their military is very well unified and has a lot of cool armor that they're allowed to use that matches their aesthetic better than kind of the peasant aesthetics that you might see from another faction like the Rivlins. So the Hadrians get to look very cool, they're very uniform, they get to take influence from these very sophisticated eras of history with very sophisticated clothing, and for that reason the Hadrians are one of my favorite factions personally. And with our intro to the faction out of the way, let's go to the costume build. So while I love the Hadrian look, I don't have many pieces personally that fit the faction aesthetic, so I had to get a little creative with how I was building this character. I decided that I'd be able to keep it simple but also look pretty cool and sophisticated by being some kind of servant or acolyte to the Hadrian Empress. So on top of this dress, I added on this cool thrifted belt. It's very classy and sophisticated and one of my favorite thrifted finds. And I put that over this red BURGSCHNEIDER dress, which due to the fabric and the embroidery has a lot of detailing that actually makes it look very nice. So that is my completed, sophisticated, high-born servant / acolyte look for the Hadrian faction.
My base layer, I started out with brown leather boots and some black roost pants, along with a black undertunic from BURGSCHNEIDER. For this character, I wanted to go with a standard soldier or guard type of look, so I added some aluminum riveted chainmail. I was very pleased with how smoothly that went on. Usually it's a longer process. Then I added some steel plate greaves, as well as some black suede leather gloves, and then some steel plate bracers on top of that. Then I added a black and red checkered tabard, and then a belt with some steel plate tassets, as well as a hammer. Then I added a black suede leather baldric with my longsword, and then added a steel plate helmet. Normally I'd be adding some padding underneath the helmet, but this helmet actually has some built-in padding already, so it's pretty comfortable. In the future, I'd like to get a breastplate as well, but for now I like the overall look. Alright guys, that's it for this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep an eye on the channel in the next few weeks as we post the other 2 faction videos. Again, big thank you to Reckoning for allowing us to film the behind the scenes on these videos. If you guys are interested in attending Reckoning, that would be awesome. We're going to be there, so we'd love to see you there. There's a link in the description below to their website where you can purchase tickets. As always, remember to like and subscribe and follow us on our other social medias, and we hope to see you in the next video. Adventure awaits. Daylight come and me wanna go home. Hide the deadly black tarantula. Daylight come and me wanna go home.